Hey, I'm James Herndon at Equal Entry. I want to talk to you today about audio description. I want to show you a couple clips of audio description I consider well done, and I'm going to be pulling these clips from the new Overwatch Kiriko lore video. So let's take a look. So our first example involves announcement of on-screen text. The video begins with text elements appearing in quick, silent succession, and they are quickly announced by the audio describer.
Rated T for teen. A card. Blizzard Entertainment presents Kiriko.
So this straightforward audio description ensures viewers don't miss the important and rapidly presented text-based information. And furthermore, it does not read every bit of information, such as all of the things that T for teen means with respect to content, violence, blood, and so on, because there are only a few available seconds to summarize the opening title cards, and therefore the narrator focuses on what is most important: the rating, the studio name, and the title. Our second example is about communicating nonverbal information. When introducing a new character, the audio description provides essential context about the character's communication methods. It says, "A little girl, Akari, sits on the floor with a big smile. She waves and signs the name Kiriko."
A little girl, Akari, sits on the floor. With a big smile, she waves and signs the name Kiriko.
This description not only introduces the character, but it also establishes that sign language is being used, and that's information crucial for understanding subsequent interactions. Because Akari is nonverbal, the audio description must include her dialogue. So our third example is going to show how you can let dialogue do your work sometimes as an audio describer, and really you should if you can. At around 30 seconds into this video, we have an excellent example of that. So here's the clip.
I hope you and your mother enjoy them.
She's here.
So you may have noticed how the audio describer doesn't describe that the elderly neighbor is motioning behind him with his thumb. It just lets Kiriko's "she's here" indicate that the elderly neighbor was acknowledging the mother's presence. So because of Kiriko's acknowledgement of the mother a moment later, it would have been a little superfluous for the audio describer to announce what the dialogue reveals a moment later. And this demonstrates how good audio description can work in harmony with existing dialogue rather than competing with it. Our fourth example shows how you can use sentence fragments if your time is very limited. So about 2 minutes in, there's a description that shows how fragments can be effective under those circumstances. So let's take a look.
I'm not overreacting.
The donuts.
Please, tell me this is not your dinner.
So that brief description, the donuts, it fits perfectly in a 2-second pause, and it provides the essential context for understanding that interaction between Kiriko and her mother. So we don't have to pause the video there and do extended audio description. We can just slip in the donuts, and someone relying on the audio description track will be able to track what's going on. Our fifth example is about summarizing the description in action sequences. So during an action sequence in this video, the audio description shows remarkable restraint. So an intense fight is summarized with knocking a goon against a wall. Here's the clip.
Knocking a goon against the wall.
Now you'll notice rather than describing every single punch, kick, and movement, which there's simply not enough time for, the description focuses on the key moments and allows the sound design to carry much of the action. That's the important part, just letting the sound design do the work and letting someone who relies on audio description enjoy that carefully crafted soundscape as well, and the music. They can still follow the essential narrative, and they can also enjoy the audio setup that has been put in place for everybody and not just be bombarded with description nonstop. Our sixth example shows how, depending on your audience, you can balance cultural context with audience awareness. So in this video, the describer uses terms like oni mask and kunai without extensive explanation. And they do so because they recognize that the target audience for an Overwatch lore video likely has familiarity with these Japanese cultural elements. So here's the clip.
Kiriko throws a kunai, hitting one of the gangsters in his face mask. 2 Hashimoto gangsters swagger down the hallway, followed by 3 Omnic goons, wearing a glamorous suit and an Oni mask.
This choice respects both the pace of the narrative and the viewer's presumed knowledge base. Our 7th and final example involves letting emotion be communicated by the characters rather than the describer. So near the video's conclusion, Kiriko's mother becomes emotional, and the description lets the sound of her crying carry the scene's poignancy rather than a description of her crying. Here's the clip.
Maybe moving home for a little while isn't such a bad idea.
That would make me so happy.
Mom, please don't cry. If you cry, I'm gonna cry.
Your grandma would be so proud of you.
I think this clip demonstrates how audio description can and should step back when audio cues effectively convey the emotional content. The scene doesn't need an audio describer like me to jump in every half second and say, a tear falls, a new tear falls. All of that is indicated and apparent in the dialogue. And by stepping back, you're letting somebody enjoy the pre-existing soundscape that is part of this entertainment, like you're doing with a summary of the fight choreography. And you're also respecting their intelligence, that they will be able to hear someone crying and understand that crying is happening. So as much as audio description involves thinking of the right descriptions at the right time, it is also essential to know when to not describe and when to let the sounds that are already there tell the story for you. So that's it. If you like, leave a comment for us. Let us know what you think about the video or audio description in general. I'm James Herndon at Equal Entry, and thanks for watching.